It happens to me too. My blood sugars are not perfect, but you know what really makes diabetes even harder is when you completely change part of your everyday routine. Type 1 diabetes, and really type 2 if you take insulin, loves routine. But I recently threw a big old monkey wrench in my routine, and it's gonna be 3 days a week, not every day, but 3 days a week that I have to think about this completely new factor that's gonna affect my blood sugars on those days. It's gonna affect my insulin sensitivity the days after those days. And here's the thing, I haven't figured it out yet. It's gonna take me a while to figure it out. And that's diabetes management when you take insulin. It takes a while to figure out how to manage your blood sugars around a completely new variable. Here's a look at what I'm dealing with. Okay, so I started working in a brewery as a server 3 days a week. Why? Well, first of all, I love people. I love interacting with people, but my day job requires me to sit at home in front of a computer, surrounded by 3 very cute dogs. But you know, I'm missing the people factor. And there's nothing quite as good for the soul as, you know, some real on your feet work. This is a busy brewery. So during my 4.5, 5-hour shift, I'm on my feet nonstop. I have not tracked my steps yet with a Fitbit during this whole new thing, but I would guess that I get even maybe 6,000 or 7,000 steps just during a shift, if not more. Okay, so I'm already a very active person. I already walk at least 5 miles a day, and I jump rope or jog every day for at least 30 minutes. Now I'm adding in about 4 hours of steady state cardio, meaning, you know, just that gentle walking trot, but it's nonstop. A couple weeks ago, I had 3 training shifts right in a row. 3 days in a row of 4 hours extra walking. And you can bet I needed an immediate decrease in my long-acting insulin dose, my basal background dose. I dropped it from 8 units to 7 units. But then, you know, I didn't have a whole bunch of shifts after my 3 training shifts. There's nothing that makes type 1 diabetes and insulin management more confusing than things that like come and go in your life. That's a big part of why I try to do the exact same amount of exercise every day, because it makes my insulin needs more predictable. But I don't want to work at this brewery every single day. I got a whole full-time job, kids, dogs. I got plenty to do, okay? Instead, I'm going to be there every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which means that basically Monday, Wednesday, Friday nights, I need to anticipate being on my feet for 4 to 5 hours in a row. It also means I need to anticipate the impact of that the next day. Fortunately, there will be some consistency in this. So at least I know every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm gonna have that 4 hours of extra exercise. And that will impact me the next day, right? So that creates almost a constant impact in a way. It will become part of my body's new normal. Will I need to decrease my long-acting back down to 7 units? I'm not so sure. We'll see. It might be okay at 8 because it's not 3 days in a row like my training shifts were. But here's the other thing I have to figure out, okay? And I am still figuring this out. I do not have solutions here. I don't usually start eating until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I love intermittent fasting. Now, that does not work on the days I'm working at this brewery. It does not, because my shift is starting at 4 or 4:30. I don't have time to eat while I'm at the brewery, and I don't want to go there without plenty of food in my belly, right? But I also don't want to start my shift with tons of insulin on board. Kind of a predicament. So here's what I've sort of tried to do, but it's still a hot mess, okay? I've tried to make sure that I'm eating a reasonable sized lunch at like noon or 1 o'clock, so that by the time I'm starting my shift at 4 or 4:30, I'm not starving. I can have a small snack. I have some insulin on board, and then I can go work for 4 or 5 hours. The first shift, I just kept going low, and I wasn't like crashing. I knew that I was hovering below 100, so I was sipping lemonade, and it was never like a problem. I never had to stop working. The second shift, I anticipated this. I sipped a little kombucha, which is not as sweet as lemonade. And I just knew like I was gonna fuel my blood sugar the whole time I was working. And that worked well. I never went low, I never went high. My third shift, I anticipated it too much. I over supported my blood sugar. I over anticipated that I might go low, and I definitely was hanging out in like the 170s, 180s for quite a bit of the shift. And then my first real shift, all by myself, I was anticipating going low. I was anticipating needing extra sugar, just sipping throughout the shift. But here's what happened instead. This was my first time having 8 tables all to myself. And I did great. I only made 2 mistakes. I served someone fries instead of greens. And one couple, I forgot to put their order in altogether. But I did get it in eventually. They were really cool about it. It's okay. But guess what happened with my blood sugar? I thought I was hanging out steady. And I didn't really look at it. I didn't really think about it. I knew I wasn't low. So I thought it was all fine. I get to the end of my shift and I look at my CGM. My blood sugar was 300. Now, I had not eaten. I did not have food on board. I had not been sipping lemonade. It was purely the adrenaline of trying to make sure I kept up with the very busy evening. A completely different experience and completely different impact on my blood sugar than my 3 training shifts. So fun, right? The number of variables that we have to juggle. All right, so literally tonight is my second shift all by myself. I know now that I have this risk of that adrenaline punch. So I'm not gonna go in there anticipating going low. I'm gonna try to keep the variables simplified so that I don't have to think about a whole lot of insulin or food slowly digesting. And I'm gonna see if this adrenaline hit is a new normal, or maybe, hopefully, it's just a thing of like, you know, I'm new at this and I'm trying to not screw up. We'll see. I didn't feel super stressed out when I was working. I was having fun. It was good. I enjoy the juggling and the multitasking. But even fun things can trigger that adrenaline. So I do know I'm just going to keep a closer eye on things halfway through my shift, and definitely, you know, during that pop when everything's really busy, which of course is the last time that I need more things to think about. I'm trying to take care of all my tables. I don't really need to also be having to worry about spiking 200 points. But that is life with type 1 diabetes. So I just want you to know, if you're confused on some of the variables, or you haven't figured out the perfect plan yet for the changes in your routine and how they're affecting your blood sugar, I haven't figured it all out yet either. I do try to help you understand some of the core basics of what affects insulin sensitivity, what spikes your blood sugar versus what drops your blood sugar, in my book, Exercise with Type 1 Diabetes. It's 100 pages. You can get it on Amazon. Wish me luck on my next shift. Hey, by the way, don't forget to hit subscribe, like this video, and share it. Help a girl out. I appreciate your support.